Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to all of you joining us here this evening and all of you joining us online. We will begin Shabbat with our candle lighting, and with the help of Cynthia Katz, we will light these candles and start Shabbat. Page 2 in your prayer books. We will continue with welcoming Shabbat in with Shalom Aleichem. And the story goes that the angels follow you home after Shabbat services. And you have a good angel on one shoulder and a bad angel on the other shoulder. And if the house is prepared for Shabbat, then the good angel prepares throughout the week. So we invite these Shabbat angels in with us with Shalom Aleichem on page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bo'achem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei, ve'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayei v'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, u'vizman karim, ve'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam u'lam me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithalel, v'yithalal, shmei d'kudesha v'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata, le'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'al
page 31, the top of the page together. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-ma'ariv aravim. 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Please be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
38. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together. lifting their voices joyously. Forty-two. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. You guard our going and coming to life and to peace forevermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
Our prayer for Shabbat, the Shamru, is on page 44. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat l'dorotam, v'ritolam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat l'dorotam. Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat, Shabbat vayinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat l'dorotam, v'ritolam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asot et HaShabbat l'dorotam, v'ritolam. We move into the Amidah, our standing prayer with Adonai's Fatai on page 46. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. hanora el elyon gomel chasadim tovim v'konei hakol v'zocher chastei avot ve'imahot u'mevi geula livnei b'neihem למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד חטא, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לך חיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. We're on page 54. Atakidashta et yom hashvi'i l'shmecha. You set aside the seventh day for your name. You made it the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, made it more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Together, our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, and when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers, and there may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadecha bi'ara na'avor. The bottom of 59, together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lahodot. Please take a moment for a silent prayer. Yishaberach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarif Kar Rachel v'Leah U'Yivarech et HaCholim. We ask God's blessing of healing for all who are ill and in pain of body or of spirit. In our own congregation, we ask God to be mindful of the needs of Sue Farber, who I understand is joining us by video tonight and is doing well. Deb Ford, who was also joining us on video, along with Alan and Gail. Spoke to her a little while ago. Susan Graham, Stan Greenberg, Earl Hecker, Merrill Hirschland, Richard Hittow, Steve Keating, Sally Keaton, Paul Norman, one of our religious school parents who's doing okay, Wendy Noodle, Kermit Prill, and Sienna Shapiro. Are there any other names we wish to add? HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihim Vayishlach Lehem Refuah Shalema, Refuah Tanefesh, Refuah Taguf, Hashta Ba'agala Vizman Kariv, V'yinru. Amen. May God send each and every one of them a complete and speedy healing of body and spirit.
Page 253 in our prayer books.
Some of you know that I am a Midwesterner by choice, 100% New Yorker and 50% Philadelphian. I told you I was no good at math. But when I was a kid, the Liberty Bell was in Independence Hall, sitting right out there in the hallway, not in the tower anymore, and certainly not in the Lexan booth in which it now resides. And you could go over, and you could touch it, and you could feel it. And if you were a little enough kid, which I was at one point in my life, you could crawl into it. And nobody stopped you. There were no guards. I mean, there were guards, I'm sure, but nobody stopped you. You could crawl in. You could look at that metal frame that is there, that you see the bolts coming out of the famous crack, but that's holding onto a whole frame that's inside the bell. And of course, for a little kid, it's a fascinating thought, and it was amazing to be able to do that. Now, the other thing that one then becomes proud of when you learn about it, certainly as a Jew, is that Leviticus is inscribed on the bell. and it's from this week's Torah portion. The specific verse, chapter 25, verse 10, says, and it's there, 75 verse 10 says that V'kidashtem et shnat hachamishim shana, you shall sanctify every 50th year, known as the Jubilee, having nothing to do with British royalty. Ukaratem dror ba'aretz, and you shall proclaim or call out dror ba'aretz. And that is usually translated, at least in the King James Version, which is the translation that's on the bell, it says liberty. Hence, it's called Liberty Bell. Right? Now, tomorrow morning at 9:15, we will take a deep dive into the Torah portion to discuss what that word dror could mean. And then, of course, how the rabbis interpreted this verse, and hopefully, if we have time tomorrow morning, put it in the context of the entire Torah portion, which has to do with maintaining some kind of economic equality within the kingdom of Israel, and keeping the land distribution, not concentrating wealth. And that's what the release was. It's related to the seventh year too. And to all the V'chol Yoshveha, and to all of its inhabitants, Yovel, it is a jubilee. Yovel is the Hebrew term. So that's what the bell says. And tomorrow we're going to go into a deep dive. But tonight, for Erev Shabbos, I want to talk about the material science of the bell and the metallurgy that's involved in the bell. I did go to Brooklyn Tech, so I have to use that some way, right? Now, we all know the story, right? All of us who grew up here know the story. The State House or the colony of Pennsylvania wanted to have a nice bell in its capital, so they ordered a bell back from England. I don't think Amazon didn't deliver bells yet from England, but they ordered a bell back from England, and these guys sent the bell over, and they tried to ring it, and it busted. It cracked. And the metal was melted down again, and ultimately by a company called Pass and Stowe in Philadelphia, and there were several attempts to recast the bell, none of which were successful. It cracked, it started right away. This was a matter of some frustration, as you can imagine. And most people think that the big crack that you see with the bolts coming through that I mentioned earlier, that I used to put my fingers in when I was a little kid, that's the break. Right? Most people think that's the break. Nicht. Not true. That cut, it's actually a cut in the bell, is part of the attempt to fix it. It was put there on purpose. So wait a minute, if the big cut that we all think of as this cracked bell, if that ain't a crack, and that's that's bolted to that frame I mentioned earlier, is bolted to, what's the problem? Where's the problem? And the answer is that the alloy of which the bell was made was never quite right for making a bell. And if you look at the bell very, very carefully and close up, you see tiny little fissures all over the bell. Some of them are not even visible to the naked eye, we now know. And so the problem with the bell was not the obvious flaw that we all think we see, but But the problem with the bell is these tiny little hairline cracks that most people don't know about, let alone notice. Now, what has that got to do with us? Especially since you can't crawl into the bell anymore, at least not legally. The Torah portion says you shall proclaim liberty throughout the land. If we understand the word dror in the same way that we understand the word liberty, which is a question all by itself, then we have this wonderful American metaphor of the Liberty Bell. But the Liberty Bell is flawed, and it's flaws that you don't think about, and flaws that you don't see, and it's flaws that sneak up on you. There's the lesson. There's the lesson. We know that there are things wrong with our communities, with our country, with ourselves, right? I know it's not Yom Kippur. I'm not going to do that on you today. All right? We know that there are things wrong. And there are obvious things wrong. And it's important to deal with them. But are the obvious things really the things that are capable of eating away at, destroying our souls and our society? I would suggest to you that the metallurgy of the Liberty Bell tells us otherwise. Why is Judaism so concerned about the jot and tittle of everybody's life? Why do we have thousands of books about Jewish law, not talking about how much time do you wait between milk and meat, not that stuff. I'm talking about how you conduct yourself in your life, how you conduct your business activities, how you conduct your personal activities, your finances. How do you deal with other people? On Yom Kippur, we talk about repenting for the sins that are done begalui, that are out in the open, that are obvious, ubasater, and the things that are hidden. And maybe, as Jews in America, we need to pay attention to the Liberty Bell, not to the obvious things, but to the things that are hidden. And that's what we have to be careful of. Societies do not slip into disarray, and they do not slip into bad places. I have in mind particularly fascism, which some of you know I have a thing about. Right? They don't slip into them overnight. People don't wake up one morning, turn a switch, and give up their liberties or try to take liberties away from others. It doesn't happen that way. It happens with small, invisible, barely detectable fissures, cracks, policies, language that becomes acceptable, things that become everyday, things that gnaw away at who we are and our liberties. Sometimes those movements surface, right? Sometimes they surface. The rise in anti-Semitism, which is of most immediate importance to our community, but which is not really separate from the rise in anti-migrant feelings, with the rise in racism, with the acceptability of racist language, and with the belief that it is acceptable to overthrow the government. Is everybody you walk into in the supermarket, I don't care which one you go to, Kroger's, Major's, Heartland, my favorite, right? I don't care. Is everybody is saying that, thinking about it? No, they're not. But look around. Look at the state legislatures around the country. Look at where the laws are going. Right? Look at the federal judge who just in the last day or so said that struck down a law, I don't remember which state, restricting gun purchases by 18-year-olds. Struck down the law. Why? Because we never did it before. Right? And sometimes it takes cutting a big hole. Sometimes it takes decisive action, like that cut in the Liberty Bell, to be able to say, no, stop. We are on the wrong path. In the case of the Liberty Bell, it was too late. It was too late. It stands now as a symbol of liberty, but it doesn't ring. But the fissures that happen in society, the removal of declaring freedom, liberty for everybody, and equality that the Torah portion talks about, that isn't taken away in one violent act. Sometimes there are ultimately violent acts, but those are taken away by small, little, tiny, microscopic, hairline increments. And so, as we read this week's Torah portion, when it says proclaim liberty throughout the land, it means not just making one big announcement every 50 years. It means proclaiming liberty and protecting liberty in the obvious ways and against the threats that are the small fissures, the small flaws that can undermine the sound of the bell. Shabbat Shalom. Omer. Oh, we got to do the Omer.
We got to count the Omer. It's not quite dark, but...
That's all right. On 278, please. היום 37 יום, שהם 5 שבועות ושני ימים לעומר. Today is the 37th day of the Omer, which is 5 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. So, 2 more weeks to go before Shavuot.
We are entering into the week of Yesod, of truth
The
and grounding.
mystical stuff. Very nice.
Please rise as we continue with our concluding prayers with Aleinu on page 282.
Please remain standing, page 294. This Shabbat, our congregation remembers the recent passings of Tom Vorenberg, Claire Grossberg, Bert Bell, Thomas Strobel, Estelle Gladstone, and Belle Lieberman. And this week we also recognize the Yortzeit's, the anniversary of the passing of Rita Daniels, Philip Donnan, Max Ellenbogen, Nathan Fields, Doran H. Goldfarb, Aaron Gottlieb, Fanny Adelson Koblin, Ida LaCours, Hassela Deutsch Levy, Alex Lieberman, Malva Lustig, Solomon S. Max, Martin Marks, Grace B. Pristowski, Bessie Rabinowitz, Frida Rosenthal, Edward Salem, Marion Zimmerman, and Nathan Zolkawa. Any other names we wish to mention? Together, Yitkadal v'Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma divrach Yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayei chom v'yomei chom, V'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Yalam Leomei Omaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitronam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei D'chudsha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbachata V'nechemata Da'amiran B'yalma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'momav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. May God, who brings harmony to the heavens, bring peace to us, to all Israel and all humanity. Amen. V'amen. Brother Paul Gross will bring us the announcements. Have a seat, please.
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
and
Shalom.
Before I get to the announcements, just a big thanks to everybody who contributed toward our big Aces High fundraiser last weekend, whether you donated something, and we had over 200 auction items, so clearly some of you donated. We appreciate that, whether you were on the committee, some of us here were on the committee, worked hard to make that happen, whether you just came to the event and had a great time and supported the temple, thank you so much. It was a really great Kol Ami night, and I'm glad all of you could be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. All right, announcements. Friday, May 19th at 5:30 p.m. is our next Tat Shabbat, so we're going to get ready for Shavuot as we travel to Shabbat in the wilderness of Sinai with a story, music, and craft. Bring your picnic blankets for a complimentary pizza dinner after services, but you do have to RSVP to the office, so the kids will have a really good time with that one. Temple Kol Ami Sisterhood cordially invites everyone to join them for their Sisterhood Shabbat lunch and a program on Saturday, May 20th at 11 a.m. They will honor their Sisterhood Award winner, Donna Weingarten. The program will feature Ellen Crane-Rosker, author, social worker, inspirational speaker, and Kol Ami member. RSVP to tkasisterhood@gmail.com by May 15th if you're planning to attend the lunch and the program. Rabbi Denker's next adult education class on Zoom is going to be Monday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. You could write a book about this. The topic for this month's class, this could be a mystery novel. It's called Killers in Jewish History. Boy, that's me good. You do need to RSVP to the temple office to get the Zoom link. Any teasers? Anything you want to add?
Well, one hopes to survive.
He said, well, one hopes to survive. Well, that's going to be a good one. All right, our annual congregational meeting, the annual congregational meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. We're going to be voting on, of course, the slate of officers for the new year, as well as for the budget for the upcoming year. So hopefully you can be there for that. We'll have our Shavuot Yisker service on Friday, May 26th. That will be here in the sanctuary at 10:15. Is it here in the sanctuary, or is it? Yes. Yeah, here in the sanctuary at 10:15 in the morning. The TKA office will be closed, FYI, Monday, May 29th, in observance of Memorial Day. And finally, as many of you know, we support the SOS South Oakland Shelter every year in some way, shape, or form. Back in the day, we used to actually house the homeless here for a week. This year, as with the way things started during the pandemic, we're going to be helping them by providing and serving meals for them in Pontiac, where they are housed. So keep an eye on the weekly email for details on ways that you can help, or you can touch base with Lee Schottenfels or Rondi Brower. There are many, many different ways that you can help, and it's not like a whole week-long commitment. You can just do one day if you want, or you can volunteer more days, but it's a great effort that we do every single year. We make a world of good and make a big difference in the lives of those people. So that's it. Thanks to our ushers, and thank you both for a beautiful service, and Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
And we will end our, thank you. I was going to say, yes, Paula's going to help us make Kiddush this evening. If we turn in our prayer books, page 5, we lift the cup in thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav banu. V'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu bacharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And then we uncover our challah. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'te'avon.
Teavon, thank you for joining us here at Temple in Video Land. Hope to see you tomorrow morning, and you'll see each other next Shabbos, and I'll see you for Shavuot and that Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Please join us for Oneg in the lobby.